Chapter 11:19. When Su Yin woke up again, it was already noon the next day. Too many things had happened the day before. Not only was her back sore, but she was also a little absent-minded. She had forgotten how she came back yesterday. When she walked downstairs in a daze, she found that Cheng Xiuqin, Ling Xiaoqi, and the others were all there. Su Yin was so scared that she was completely awake. Dad, Mom, Brother, and Xiaoqi. Why are you all here? You're still talking about it. Cheng Xiuqin took the lead and got up to greet her. She grabbed her hand and said, "You actually did such a big thing for me. If I didn't happen to see the live broadcast online yesterday." Cheng Xiuqin still had some lingering fear when she said this. God knew how worried and scared she and her husband were when they saw the live broadcast online yesterday. Fortunately, the children were fine. Otherwise, she wouldn't know what to do. Su Yuxuan, who wanted to hide this matter, and Hua Qinhuan looked at each other. They both felt a little guilty. They touched their noses and didn't dare to talk, especially Su Yuxuan. When Su Yin came back yesterday, she was already tired and fell asleep. Hua Qinhuan carried her in. At that time, Su Yin's parents, who had received the news early and ran to the family who would await, thought that something had happened to her when they saw her being carried in. Their legs went soft, and they almost fainted. Fortunately, although Hua Qinhuan was surprised to see them, she quickly explained that the adults and children were fine. They were just frightened and fell asleep because they were too tired. The two of them were pulled back from the edge of collapse. However, after experiencing such ups and downs, the two of them were unwilling to go home. So, they stayed in the family hall for the night, waiting for the children to wake up. That night, Su Yin was very tired and slept like a log. The three of them did not get much sleep that night. When Su Yuxuan woke up, he tried to hide it from his parents, but it was only natural that his parents would settle the score with him. Before Su Yin went downstairs, he had already been scolded for a long time. When Su Yin heard Cheng Xiuqin's words, she knew what was going on. She quickly explained for Hua Qinhuan. Qinhuan and the others didn't tell you. It's their fault. But this matter was scary. They were afraid of scaring you, so they didn't dare to tell you. Forgive them. Cheng Xiuqin and his wife were a little angry at first, but Hua Qinhuan risked her life to go into the enemy's camp. Now, she only brought it up again because she was angry that they had excluded their parents from such a big matter. They were even worse than the viewers in the live stream who only found out about it at the end. Cheng Xiuqin glared at his daughter, who was eager to defend his son-in-law. I'll let it go this time. If this happens again, I'll take little Xingxing home and raise her. Let's see if you're worried. Su Yin rubbed her face, which was a little painful from being pinched. She laughed and said, I'm definitely worried. Someone might not be so. Who knows? He might even be asking for it. What? Cheng Xiuqin didn't hear the last part of Su Yin's words clearly. He frowned and asked. Su Yin hurriedly said, Nothing. I mean, since you said so, we won't dare to do it again. That's more like it. Cheng Xiuqin snorted and didn't continue to dwell on this topic. Su Yin breathed a sigh of relief. She turned to look at Hua Qinhuan, only to see that he was also looking at her. Su Yin was stunned. Thinking of what happened yesterday, her heart trembled. Chapter 11:20. The brief exchange of glances between the two did not attract the attention of the elders. When Mr. Su saw that his wife was done criticizing him, he also talked to Su Yin about another serious matter. Since you're fine, let your uncle and grandfather know later. Don't let them worry too much. Grandfather and uncle know about it too. This matter has caused a lot of commotion. How could they not know? I reckon that they won't be able to sit still for the next 2 days and will come to see you and the child. Su Yuxuan seemed to have thought of something as he spoke. He coughed lightly and said, And those fans of yours online, it's best if you tell them that you're safe. Yesterday, your live broadcast was suddenly interrupted, and the police couldn't immediately give an explanation. Your fans are about to turn the sky upside down. The live broadcast was suddenly interrupted? When Su Yin heard Su Yuxuan's words, she was stunned. Yesterday's live broadcast was interrupted? When did it stop? When that woman suddenly went crazy and ran over to pounce on you and the child. Su Yin did not expect the live broadcast to be interrupted so early. However, Her original intention of starting the live broadcast was to expose the true colors of Do Tianyi and the others. At the same time, she also wanted to let Hua Chenhuan and the others confirm her situation and location. The live broadcast was interrupted at that time, so it did not have much of an impact. However, for the audience who watched the entire live broadcast at that time, the live broadcast being interrupted at that time was like watching a drama at the climax and suddenly saying, "Please listen to the next episode." They were probably angry and worried. But then again, she was able to get out of trouble this time, thanks to the favorable impression points provided by the audience. Even without Su Yuxuan's reminder, she was prepared to do something to repay these lifesavers. I know. Later, after I say goodbye to uncle and grandfather, I will let them know that I'm safe. Su Yiyin said this, and suddenly turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. Where's uncle? Why don't I see him? He went to deal with the aftermath. Hua Chenhuan paused. In the end, he still felt that Su Yiyin had the right to know about this. Wen Jingping is dead. The man who wanted to kill me is also dead. Those who were present at the time were either dead or injured. Do Tianyi's condition worsened, and he was sent to the emergency room. I don't think he'll be able to come out again. Su Yiyin had already guessed most of these things, so there was nothing surprising about it. What she was more concerned about now was, have you caught those people? Hua Chenhuan was stunned. She knew that Su Yiyin was not only talking about the people in the villa yesterday, but also the group of people that Zhang Qinyang had been tracking. Yes, I've caught them all. This time, no one is left out. Only then did Su Yiyin breathe a sigh of relief, revealing a relieved smile. Their souls in heaven can rest in peace now. Uncle is also free. Hua Chenhuan lowered her head and held Su Yiyin's hand. She replied in a low voice, yes. After confirming the safety of Su Yiyin and the child, the two elders finally felt relieved. The sleepiness that had been suppressed for the whole night also surged up. They went back to rest first. After the few of them left, Su Yiyin first went to check on the child. After confirming that he was still sleeping soundly, she reported to the old man that he was safe. In fact, when Su Yiyin came back yesterday, Qin Shiru and the others already knew about the situation on their side from Cheng Shuqin. However, they still felt uneasy when they did not see him. Now that they finally saw him alive in front of them, they finally felt relieved. They gave Su Yiyin a few simple instructions and told her that they would go and see him in 2 days before hanging up. After hanging up, Su Yiyin breathed a sigh of relief. After hesitating for a moment, she turned on the camera that had been installed for a long time. Chapter 1121. The fans in Su Yiyin's live broadcast room were still brooding over the sudden interruption of the live broadcast the day before. They were running around, trying to find some clues from the major media reports to confirm the safety of Su Yiyin and her son. When they heard the sudden beep of the live broadcast, many people almost thought that they had heard wrongly. After the initial shock, a large number of people flocked to the live broadcast room. In a moment, the number of viewers in Su Yiyin's live broadcast room was pushed to the top of the website. Host? Is it really the host? Are the host and the baby all right? Yesterday's live broadcast was really infuriating. She dropped the ball at the crucial moment and caused me to not sleep well the whole night. I was worried about the safety of the host and the baby. Fortunately, the host is fine. Host? Oh my God, it's really the host. The host is back. It's good that she's fine. It's good that she's fine. I was really scared to death yesterday. How can there be such a deranged person in this world? They should all be captured and locked up, never to be let out again. Su Yiyin looked at the screen full of "it's good that she's fine." Her heart was slightly warm, thinking that she could successfully get out of trouble this time. These little cuties had contributed a lot. She couldn't help but smile a little. Thank you for your concern. I'm fine. Thanks to everyone's help, the rescue team came in time. The baby and I are fine. The bad guys have been arrested. With the host's personal confirmation, many people who were waiting in the live broadcast room were greatly relieved. It's good that the host and the baby are fine. Although I knew that those people were not good people when I watched the live broadcast, I was still shocked when I saw the official report this morning. The host and the baby are very lucky to be able to return safely. One who survives a great disaster is bound to have good fortune. I hope the host and the baby can be safe and happy in the future. Although the media reports didn't name names, people who were paying attention to the situation could still find clues from the large number of reports and match these words with what they had seen and heard. Su Yin's incident this time was very bad. If they didn't respond in time, it would easily cause panic. Therefore, a report came out early in the morning pointing out the identity of the scarred man and the others. It claimed that they were a group of illegal forces who had been smuggled back from abroad. Their methods were cruel and very dangerous. However, with the cooperation of the police and the general public, this group of people have all been arrested and will no longer endanger the safety of the public. Please do not worry. As for the victim, Su Yin, her identity was rather sensitive. Moreover, they were probably worried that Su Yin would attract too much attention and attract other dangers. Therefore, they did not mention much about her. This also caused the audience to be even more worried about Su Yin and her son's current situation. Once his tense nerves relaxed, he naturally had the mind to care about other things, such as Su Yin's true identity. So, is the host really President Su of Dongxing Group, the boss of the entertainment company whose boss is more popular than his employees? Su Yin almost choked when she saw this message. The boss was hotter than the employees? Where did this rumor come from? If there isn't an agency named Dongsheng, it should be. It's actually true. No wonder those gossip accounts couldn't find out the host's identity no matter how hard they tried. It turns out that the host has been jumping around under their noses all this time. Is this the legendary darkness under the light? Chapter 1122. Don't talk about them. We didn't recognize it either. Thinking about it carefully, I also ate the melon of the host tearing up the mistress before. At that time, I felt that the voice in the video was inexplicably familiar, as if I had heard it somewhere. It's a pity that I didn't have the desire to know the truth. Now that I think about it, I missed 100 million yuan. There were many people who had this idea. Su Yin had torn up the green tea with her own strength, defended her own artists and other high-profile deeds, which had indeed attracted many people to eat her melon. It was just that at that time, no one dared to associate Su Yin with the boss of a big company. A few people who had a big imagination did not dare to speak out at will. A small food area's internet celebrity and a big boss with a winner script. Wasn't this a blatant scam? No, they couldn't let the host bear inexplicable charges because of their momentary slip of the tongue. This idea must be nipped in the cradle. However, these people would never have thought that because of their sensibility, they would miss the truth again and again. They really didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Of course, there were also people who realized that many of their favorite artists belonged to Su Yin's company. The chef is ecstatic. I suddenly found that my favorite host turned out to be the boss of my favorite brother. The dimensional wall is broken. My little sister is the same. The host has a good eye. The qualifications of the artists promoted in recent years are very good, and they don't make any trouble. I suddenly remembered that the host and my brother had a scandal before. After that, my brother seemed to explain that it was because the new company learned that his sister was ill and hospitalized. The boss was very kind and took the initiative to visit and help his sister find a good doctor to treat her. This doctor shouldn't be the host, right? Yes, I also thought of it when you mentioned it. So the host went to the hospital to see a doctor for his sister, not to visit? Su Yin saw that someone mentioned Luo Weibing and his sister. She smiled, but was not in a hurry to grab the credit. She just said with a smile, "At that time, I went to the hospital to visit. Luo Weibing's sister was able to get better because of the doctors in the hospital, but she did have a period of recuperation with medicinal cuisine when she recovered. That visit was to see how the child was recovering so that we could make some follow-up adjustments." As soon as Su Yin said this, Luo Weibing's fans were a little excited. Those who had watched Su Yin's live broadcast and tasted the medicinal cuisine in her shop knew very well how effective these nourishing medicinal cuisines were. Listening to Su Yin, most people only think that she is modest, and Luo Weibing's fans spontaneously express their gratitude and flattery. Although the fans of other artists are half a beat slower, When they see Luo Weaving's fans start to brush up, they quickly react. This person was the boss. Their brother, Miss, was the boss of their idol's management company. He controlled the lifeline of their idol's resources. He was the boss who could casually leak a little of his information, and it would be enough for their idol to take off. There's no need to say anything, just praise him. Because of everyone's tacit understanding, the screen of the live broadcast room was instantly filled with all kinds of mushy flattery. Su Yin's eyes hurt when she saw it. At this moment, she suddenly saw a message from the corner of her eye. Her expression changed slightly, and her heart couldn't help but thump. Chapter 11:23. The content of the message was, Host, can the system you used when you were kidnapped really avoid detection by the scanning equipment? Can it be customized into the style you want? How much is the specific price? When will it be available? Can you pre-order it now? System? Su Yin's expression showed a moment of shock and panic, but she quickly covered it up. She frowned and asked, What system? Su Yin's question reminded many of the audience, and they followed suit and asked questions about the system. Su Yin extracted some key points from the rows of messages and found out that not long after the official announcement, Hua Chenhuan's company made an announcement. They announced that the system Su Yin mentioned in the live broadcast was an anti-detection system that their company was researching. This system could avoid detection by various electronic devices. Moreover, this system was small in size and had many variations. Its appearance was very confusing and difficult to detect. It could accurately locate the owner when the wearer was in danger, send a signal to the first contact in the director's contact book, and automatically turn on the audio and video recording function. Su Yin read the announcement, and her feelings were very complicated. Logically speaking, as soon as this announcement came out, it could be said that it covered up everything that happened during the live broadcast yesterday. It gave a very suitable excuse and also promoted a wave of their own products at the same time. However, the key point was that she knew better than anyone that she did not have the system that they were talking about. For the company's official account to suddenly make such an announcement, it must have been approved by Hua Chenhuan. It was even possible that he was the one who instructed them to do so. For him to do so, could it be that he found out something? If that was the case, why didn't he ask her? Su Yin had countless doubts in her heart, but she did not show them on her face. Since it says so, it can definitely be customized. As for the specific time and price, I'll ask my husband when the broadcast ends. It's just that for a product like this, it will take a lot of time to customize it. Su Yin was not sure if Hua Chenhuan's company really had a system with similar functions, so she simply gave an ambiguous answer. The audience who inquired did not understand her dilemma. After getting confirmation, they were very excited and said that money was not a problem. As long as the product was good, it was nothing. Most of the people who inquired had some background and were not necessarily Su Yin's fans. They had only watched Su Yin's live broadcast yesterday and were purely interested in the system. What do rich people care about the most these days? Of course, it was fate, but because they were rich, there were many people who wanted them in their families' lives. Although such people would usually be escorted by bodyguards when they went out, who would want to take care of both to make themselves safer. What was supposed to be a good live broadcast to report their safety suddenly turned into a live broadcast to promote a new product in advance. The diehard fans in Su Yin's live stream were both angry and amused at the same time. Host, do you still remember what kind of live stream we were doing? I don't mind if you want to promote medicinal cuisine, Chinese herbs, or even some of your endorsements. But can you not promote that Stinky Man's company's products in a live stream? All right, I admit, I'm just jealous of that Stinky Man who can marry the streamer. Sour into lemon. JPG. Chapter 11:24. Of course, he was not the only one who was jealous. Soon, many people agreed with this statement and began to denounce this lucky guy who saved the universe in his previous life and was lucky enough to marry the streamer in this life. Big Brother said what I wanted to say, but didn't dare to. Although I knew the streamer was married and had a child, I still felt a shock when I saw her in person. Sob. I feel like my cabbage has been taken away. My heart hurts. Yes, 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 I feel the same way. Although I know the streamer's other half is tall, rich, and handsome, I still can't help but be picky. Most of the people who felt this psychological difference were the old viewers of Su Yiyin's live broadcast room. Many of these people were about the same age as Cheng Xiuqin. When they saw Su Yiyin, who was about the same age as their own child, it was inevitable that they liked other people's children more. They couldn't help but be a little picky when looking at her other half. Their child was so outstanding. How good must this person be to be worthy of her? Of course, not everyone thought this way. Early on, after Su Yiyin's identity was exposed, the situation of her and Hua Chenwan's family was turned upside down. The final conclusion was that although the streamer's husband's relatives were a little weird, the relationship between the two was really sweet. Hey, babies, why are you being poisonous? Isn't it good to be a couple? Before, we didn't know the identity of the streamer's other half. Now that we know, I suggest everyone look at the account of the streamer's company CEO. You can easily find a lot of candy. Ha ha ha. Although I can understand everyone's feelings, there's really nothing to be picky about the streamer's husband. Not only is he young and handsome, but he's also very rich and capable. The only two shortcomings seem to be that he only has a family of weird relatives, but it's said that they have already separated. They basically don't contact each other and don't even greet each other when they see each other. Also, it seems that he was paralyzed for a while because of car accident, but he's been cured. I just want to search for his recent photos. Those long legs perfectly match my fantasy of a domineering CEO. That's right, that's right. The streamer's boyfriend, not only is he handsome and has a good figure, but he's also capable and has a good background. Many people had seen the drama of the Hua Corporation changing hands. At that time, many people said that it was a feud between two rich brothers over money and power. After digging up the wealth and background of the tycoon, I just wanted to say to hell with fighting over wealth and power. The moronic media was the cause of death. The host's husband might not even be interested in the Hua Corporation, okay? Yeah, and Si Yin and Huan, you are all golden chickens that can lay eggs. Do they need to snatch the Hua Corporation, a mess that has already begun to decline? F*CK. The host's husband is the boss of fantasy? The fantasy games that developed virtual simulators, intelligent robots, and holographic games? How could the host's boyfriend be an ordinary rich second-generation heir? He's clearly a fighter jet among rich second-generation heirs. This is a rich second-generation heir? He could already be considered a real rich first-generation, right? But speaking of which, Onlooker seemed to be jointly founded by Ya, Un, and Huan Yu. If the streamer's husband was really the boss of fantasy media, wouldn't the streamer be the boss's wife? Why'd he suddenly feel a little excited? What kind of domineering doting on his wife is this? Su Yiyin saw people discussing her husband on the bullet screen. At first, she didn't pay much attention to it until she saw the end. Chapter 1125. Melon Web was jointly founded by Ya and Huan Yu. Weren't these two companies the ones that Gu Xiaoyang and Yu Zian were in charge of? So, the livestream website she was on was actually Hua Chenwan's private property? Su Yiyin felt that the impact she had received from today's livestream was more than what she had suffered in the past 2 or 3 years since her rebirth. Thinking about it carefully, it seemed that a certain administrator in her livestream room had taken the initiative to come to her not long after she started her livestream. He had even reached the top in one fell swoop and became the only administrator in her livestream room at the fastest speed. Although becoming an administrator required her to be verified as the host of the livestream room, she also needed to accept the basic authentication of the website before she could lock in on the specific details. At that time, Hua Chenwan had passed the verification so quickly. Su Yiyin had thought that the other party's generosity had captured the heart of the website's reviewer. Now, it seemed that it was not money at all. He had directly used his identity as a boss to open a green channel. While Su Yiyin was in a daze for a while, some of Su Yiyin's anti-fans, who had realized that Su Yiyin was the website's lady boss, began to revive from the ashes and became restless. I said that she must have a backer. Otherwise, how could she have promoted all kinds of homepage as soon as she started? She even made the live stream room into a one-man show and banned people's accounts at the slightest provocation. We can't afford to offend her. Upstairs, you are really bold. There are some things that you should know in your heart. Be careful not to be remembered by others. They will ban your account in a while. You dare to do it, but you don't allow people to talk about it? She originally relied on her husband to get to the top. Who knows how many people she has stepped on to gain popularity today? Her fans have been boasting that she has many rich fans. Now it seems that these accounts are all her company's own accounts. Money is going from her left pocket to her right pocket. She can even save on marketing. She can also trick some people who don't know the truth to follow the trend and reward her. These capitalist faces are really too ugly. These people were just short of pointing at Su Yiyin's nose and scolding her for relying on her backer to get to the top and oppressing other live streams on the same platform. The jealousy in their sarcastic words could be seen at a glance. Su Yiyin's diehard fans could be said to be experienced in this aspect. How could they tolerate these jealous people being presumptuous in their own territory? They immediately ridiculed them. Oh my, I can smell the jealousy in some people's eyes even from a few kilometers away, saying that the streamer relied on her husband to get to the top. Forgive me for not feeling any ripples in my heart. I even wanted to laugh a little. Some people, even if they were uncultured, would go online more often. Before you blackmail her, you should check her background and count how many legends she has created since she started broadcasting. Otherwise, you won't know who will be embarrassed. Upstairs, you're still so patient to argue with these people. Now that I see these trolls, I can't even be bothered to look at them. The host is an active topic on the official account of the Research Institute, and even the official account directly praised her several times. Does she need to rely on her husband to get ahead? To put it bluntly, there are millions of internet celebrities in the world, but there's only one person like the host. With the host's strength, she can be popular anywhere. If the platform loses the host, it may not be able to keep people like us. You should first figure out the pros and cons before arguing with us. Otherwise, saying more will only expose your brainlessness and ignorance. Those who say that the host relies on her husband are either blind or brainless. Looking at it from a more recent point of view, the host just escaped from the tiger's mouth yesterday. Today, a certain company is promoting that whatever system. This is a blatant attempt to gain popularity. As long as you are not blind, you can see who is relying on who. Chapter 11:26. TSK. This is a family matter. How can it be called taking advantage of others' popularity? Everyone, pay attention. Don't be influenced by the anti-fans and try to sow discord between the host and her husband. As fans, we should love the house and its crow. The host and her husband complement each other. They go hand in hand and help each other. They are a match made in heaven. It's useless for some people to be jealous. Hold it in or get lost. If you dare to say another word, you'll be burned. He watched as the people who had sneaked in the live stream gradually became mixed up with the honest folk, and it became a noisy mess. Su Yiyin didn't want to continue talking to everyone. She simply said a few words and was ready to go offline. Of course, before turning off the live stream, Su Yiyin confirmed the time and content of her next live stream with everyone. This greatly comforted the audience who were originally worried that she might not live stream in the future after this crisis. After turning off the live broadcast, Su Yiyin felt a little lost. Usually, at this time, the system would take the initiative to summarize with her how many favorability points she had gained after this live broadcast. Before Su Yiyin could recover and find Hua Qinhuan to settle the score, the child's miserable cries came from outside the door. Su Yiyin's face changed slightly. She hurriedly got up and rushed outside. As soon as she opened the door, she saw Hua Qinhuan, who was at a loss, and the little guy in his arms, whose face was red from crying. The baby cries as soon as he wakes up. No one can coax him. Su Yiyin knew that the little guy was probably still trapped in yesterday's thrilling experience. She was very distressed and hurriedly took the child from Hua Qinhuan's arms. She whispered, "Baby, be good. Mommy is here. It's okay. We're already home. The bad guys have been beaten away by Mommy and Daddy. The baby is safe. Don't be afraid." Perhaps it was because his mother was by his side that the baby finally felt safe. Perhaps it was because Su Yin's words had an effect. The little boy's cries gradually became softer. After about 2 minutes, he finally stopped crying. He leaned into Su Yin's embrace, his 2 chubby little hands clutching onto Su Yin's collar. He was afraid that his mother would disappear in the blink of an eye. Su Yin heaved a sigh of relief when he finally managed to coax the little guy. He raised his head and met Hua Chenwan's eyes, which were too late to look away. The moment their gazes met, Su Yin could see from Hua Chenwan's face that there was nothing more straightforward than guilt. Su Yin raised his eyebrows and said with a faint smile, "I just turned on the live broadcast to tell my fans that I'm safe." "Yeah." Then they told me something interesting. Hua Chenwan's heart skipped a beat. She braced herself and asked, "What interesting thing?" "I heard that the website I'm streaming on is under your company." "Yes, but I don't remember seeing this website on the list of companies you gave me." Hua Chenwan was silent for a moment. She hesitated for less than 3 seconds between telling the truth and brushing it off. She decisively chose the former. "Okay, I admit that this website is under my company's name. The person in charge is Zian. The reason why I didn't see this website on the list was because I asked someone to pick it out in advance." "You picked it out?" Su Yin pondered for a moment and nodded meaningfully. "So, this website is your private stash for yourself?" Hua Chenwan was shocked by Su Yin's description. The corners of her mouth twitched as she said, "No, it's because I want to know more about you through this website. In fact, I've hidden another thing from you. The #1 admin in your live broadcast room is actually—" "I know." Before Hua Chenwan could finish, Su Yin interrupted him first. She smiled and leaned in front of him, calling out softly, "Miss #1 on the list." Chapter 11:27. Hua Chenwan's entire body shook. He looked at Su Yin with shock and indescribable awkwardness. "You know? What did you find out?" "Oh, the first time you took the initiative to find me. That was a long time ago, but at that time, I didn't say who I was." Intuition. Su Yin didn't know why she was so sure that the person talking to her was Hua Chenwan. She just felt that this person was very familiar to her, so familiar that she didn't need to distinguish to be sure of his identity. At that time, there weren't many people in my broadcast room. Although those people seemed to like me very much, I felt that you were different from me. But I always feel that you are different from them. No matter what disguise you wear, as long as you talk to me, I will definitely be able to recognize you. This is my secret skill. I don't need any reason." When Hua Chenwan heard her say this, he felt both sweet and funny. "You already know who I am, yet you keep calling me Big Sister. I saw that you enjoyed hearing me call you Big Sister, so I thought you liked me calling you that. I'm so considerate and spoil my fans, so I can satisfy my fans' little hobby." How could Hua Chenwan not know that his wife was deliberately teasing him? After holding it in for a while, he could only helplessly sigh, "You." Then he said, "If you like this website, I'll have Zian transfer it to your name in a bit." Originally, he kept this website to protect his little disguise. Now that his disguise had been exposed, there was no point in keeping this website. Su Yin shook her head and said with a smile, "I'm not so overbearing as to care about my husband's secret stash of money. You should keep this website. You're my VVVIP client, and I'm your website's #1 host. I'll be indebted to Big Boss for protecting me in the future." Hua Chenwan saw that Su Yin really didn't want the website, so she didn't force her. She smiled faintly and said, "Okay, I'll cover you, and only you." The two adults sweetly displayed their love for each other. The little guy who was miserably neglected in Su Yin's embrace could not take it anymore. He slapped his father's chin with his little fist and called out to attract their attention. Su Yin lowered her head and kissed the little guy. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something and asked with concern, "By the way, how is Xiaoyang? His injuries? He's fine. Did you stop the bleeding from his wounds?" "Yes. Time is limited, and Do Tiany's men are watching from the side. I can only help him stop the bleeding and wait for help. The doctor who treated him said that you did a good job. If you didn't stop the bleeding, he might not have been able to wait until the ambulance arrived. When you were rescued, he was already awake. He blamed himself for not being able to protect you and the child. It's not his fault. At that time, that group of people had guns in their hands. They even brought such a large number of cars to block us. Xiaoyang is not an impenetrable fortress. How could he stop them? When we have time later, we'll go to the hospital to see him. Okay. Su Yiyin saw that Huo Qinhuan agreed without hesitation. She couldn't help but think of the announcement on the internet. She opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but stopped. Huo Qinhuan looked at her and couldn't help but wonder, what's wrong? Su Yiyin pursed her lips and said in a hoarse voice, I saw the announcement your company made. It's about the system. Chapter 1128. The atmosphere in the room suddenly froze because of Su Yiyin's words. After a moment of stalemate, Huo Qinhuan spoke first. I asked someone to do it. Su Yiyin pursed her lips and hesitated for a moment before asking tentatively, Did you? Huo Qinhuan raised his head and met Su Yiyin's gaze. He reached out to touch her face and said with a faint smile, I've said that you can say whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter if you don't want to say it. It's just like how I hide something from you. But it doesn't mean that I don't love you and you don't love me. On the contrary, sometimes I hide something because I can't say it out loud for various reasons. Everyone has their own secrets. As long as you don't leave me, as long as these concealments don't hurt you, it doesn't matter. Listening to Huo Qinhuan's words, Su Yiyin's uneasy heart settled down little by little. She fixed her eyes on the man in front of her. Obviously, he was not a person who would say sweet words, but every time he said something that touched her heart, she felt particularly at ease and safe. Let's find time in the next 2 days to go to the hospital to see Xiaoyang. Okay, Gu Xiaoyang looked bloody and scary that day. In fact, most of his injuries were superficial and his internal organs were not hurt. However, no matter how superficial the injuries were, excessive bleeding could endanger his life. For this reason, Su Yiyin specially made a lot of nourishing dishes, such as pig's liver and pig's blood. She visited him in the hospital several times with Huo Qinhuan. During his hospitalization, she even asked the restaurant to send him food every day. This made Yu Zian and Zuyin Bai, who had sympathized with him and could only lie on the hospital bed for a while, envious and jealous. They wished they could pull him up and enjoy this blessing in disguise. In addition, the kidnapping incident finally gave a satisfactory result on the 3rd day after Su Yiyin was rescued. Of the 2 groups of people who kidnapped Su Yiyin and her son, the Scar Man's group was obviously much more dangerous than Do Tianyi's bodyguards. Unfortunately, the Scarred Man and the previous leader had already died in the chaos of the escape. The remaining people were all small fries, and it didn't take long for them to get a lot of information out of them. Zheng Qianyang and the others followed the clues and found the nests of many illegal organizations. They solved many major cases in one fell swoop and caught many accomplices who had participated in the incident back then. They had truly avenged Huo Qinhuan's parents. Huo Qihan could have helped Zheng Qianyang and the others contact these people and atone for his crimes. At least he wouldn't have died. However, because he was too cowardly and wanted to escape at the last minute, even betraying Zheng Qianyang and the others at the critical moment, the scar-faced man and the others saw through him. As a result, although the mastermind died, the Scarred Man was able to escape with a group of people, and he himself paid the price and died in the chaos. When the details of the case were officially announced, his actions and the death of Huo Qinhuan's parents were deliberately exposed, so that even if he died, he would be nailed on the shelf of shame and be reviled. Do Tianyi, who cooperated with such dangerous people and tried to smuggle Su Yiyin out, could be convicted of treason to Country Eye. The Do family's stock price plummeted because of this incident. Do Tianyi's confidants were basically involved in this incident and couldn't come out in a short time. The company had no backbone to turn the tide, and it didn't take long for it to go bankrupt. Chapter 1129. As for Do Tianyi, the mastermind behind all of this, his body rapidly deteriorated after Wen Jingping's death. He stayed in the intensive care unit with a ventilator until New Year's Eve. In the end, he breathed his last with unwillingness and resentment, confirming that he would not live past 30 in the original work. Su Yiyin only found out about this from others a week after Do Tianyi's death. Her heart did not fluctuate too much. She only lamented that if the system was still around, she would have been notified of such a big thing as the death of the world's male protagonist. How could she have waited until now? After Su Yiyin's identity was exposed, it attracted a little trouble as she had previously feared. Some people with difficult and complicated diseases rushed to her to see a doctor. These people either claimed to be relatives or friends, using all kinds of methods to curry favor with Su Yiyin to treat them. Naturally, Su Yiyin would not agree. If there was a first, there would be a second. Once this started, more and more people would stick to her like leeches. She could not get rid of them. Unable to bear the harassment, Su Yiyin simply moved to the small villa left behind by Chunhuan's parents in Huachenhuan for a period of time to avoid the limelight. It was also at this time that the Research Institute and Yi Chuliang and a group of well-known pharmacologists rushed to express their gratitude for Su Yiyin's free donation. They also confirmed that the Chinese herbs did indeed have the effect of alleviating and even treating some diseases that were difficult to overcome at this stage. In the near future, these herbs would be used to treat diseases in the real world. The audience who watched Su Yiyin's live broadcast realized that Su Yiyin had said in the live broadcast that she had already handed over all the relevant materials to the Research Institute and relevant departments. They would be studied by more professional people so that they could be used in the right fields at the right time. It turned out to be true. Because of this, Su Yiyin's reputation soared. Some people who originally had crooked thoughts did not dare to act rashly. They could only wait patiently for the arrival of that day. The matter with Do Tianyi and the others came to an end. Su Yiyin and the others' lives finally returned to normal. However, when she occasionally went in and out of the kitchen, Su Yiyin's heart would still feel a little empty. She thought that she was not obvious, but she did not know that all of this fell into Hua Chenhuan's eyes. You don't seem to be in high spirits these days. Are you still upset about what happened before? Su Yiyin did not expect Hua Chenhuan to see through her. She was stunned for a moment before she said in a low voice, "It's not because of that. It's because I have a friend. I have a friend who has helped me a lot. He's a little sad. Friend S, Su's. As if he remembered. None of these people's is. So this friend. S, I's right. It, I's right. S is right. It. SSS. Days. SSSSS. I haven't seen Bao Bao play with it for the past 2 days. Yinbai Company's robot system is basically complete. They brought Yuan back to upgrade it. They should be able to send it back today. Upgrade. Su Yiyin nodded, not fully understanding. She did not think much about it. She just thought that Yuan was brought back to upgrade its defense function. After all, Zui Yinbai and the others had originally designed this robot because of its safety performance. Right at this moment, there was a small commotion outside, and there was also the sound of a child crying. Chapter 1130. Both of them were stunned. They looked at each other and walked out together. As soon as they walked out of the door, they saw their little babies crawling around a familiar little robot with Dun Dun and Silly Boy. Their eyes were full of excitement and curiosity. Usually at this time, Roly Yuan would take the initiative to pick up the children and lift them up high, but today this little robot seemed to be particularly cold. Su Yiyin glanced suspiciously at this familiar, yet strange lump of iron. So the Yinbai happened to walk in from outside at this time. When he saw Su Yiyin and Silly Boy, his eyes flickered, revealing a faint sense of guilt. Young master, young madam. Su Yiyin smiled at him. Thank you for your hard work. Has Roly Yuan finished upgrading? Yes, it has. It's just that. It's just that? Without waiting for Su Yiyin to ask more, Dun Dun had already habitually led his son to Roly Yuan's body, wanting to climb onto Roly Yuan's head as usual. Roly Yuan didn't stop it, but it also didn't help the two little fat dogs to lift them up as usual. When Dun Dun finally climbed onto Roly's shoulder with great effort, Roly Poly finally turned its round little head and stared at Dun Dun with its hollow black glass eyes for a while. Then it coldly said in a mechanical voice, "Silly dog." Dun Dun, who was suddenly attacked by its little friend's language, was speechless. Su Yin was speechless. Although Hua Chenwan didn't have much contact with this little robot, Su Yin liked the children, so he usually paid more attention to it. At this time, he finally realized that something was wrong and looked at Zui Yanbai inquiringly. Zui Yanbai touched his nose awkwardly and laughed. "Well, I don't know what's going on. After the upgrade, the robot seemed to have changed. At first, I thought it had accidentally covered something inside, but after checking it several times with the equipment, I didn't find any abnormalities." Zui Yanbai paused and looked at Su Yin carefully. "I brought it here today because I want to ask young madam if you want to find another problem with it to see if it can be corrected or get another robot here." Hua Chenwan did not say anything and left the choice to Su Yin. When Su Yin heard Zui Yanbai's words, his heart couldn't help but skip a beat. He thought of the familiar phrase, "stupid dog," and a crazy idea suddenly came to his mind. She walked step by step to the front of the little robot, leaned over and looked directly into its eyes. She asked tentatively, "System?" "Oomph. Who else could it be other than it?" There was a hint of pride in its tone. Su Yin's eyes lit up. She was both excited and confused. "It's really you. How did you—" "Yin Yin." Before Su Yin could finish, Hua Chenwan interrupted her. Su Yin then remembered that there were still people around. Her hand, which was about to reach out and pat the little metal head, froze in mid-air. Fortunately, Hua Chenwan did not let her feel awkward for too long. He took the initiative to step forward and hold her outstretched hand. "Let's keep it for now. We'll take a look. You can go back first." Although Zui Yanbai felt that the two of them were acting strangely, he did not ask much. "Oh, okay." As soon as Zui Yanbai left, Hua Chenwan's gaze fell on the robot. He did not let go of Su Yin's hand. "Let's talk inside." "Okay." The two of them had something to talk about, so they left the little fellow and Dun Dun in the care of the old butler. Only then did they bring the round-skinned system into the study. "It's that friend of yours?" Hua Chenwan's hit the nail on the head surprised Su Yin, but she also felt relieved. He had guessed it. "Yes." Su Yin finally patted the system's round head. "It's a system." "A system. Oh, you can think of it as an intelligent robot. It's a string of data. However, this data is already very close to a human." Hua Chenwan narrowed his eyes. Although he did not like Su Yin being too close to other living things, he would not go so far as to be jealous of a string of data. "Hello, host partner. I am Advanced System 001 from the Advanced Realm. Nice to meet you. Please advise me." As the system spoke, its two round little hands suddenly popped, and two plastic flowers popped out. "Su Yin, Hua Chenwan, system, our current resources are limited. Sorry to embarrass myself." Hidden meaning: this is not my fault, but the robot's outer shell. The robot's designer must take the blame. Su Yin was the first to react. She could not help but laugh out loud. The originally serious atmosphere became subtle, and it was not as cold as it was before. The system, who had intended to leave a good impression on the host partner, had failed and shut down on the spot. Seeing this, Hua Chenwan could not help but laugh. However, he was still concerned about the matter at hand. He coughed lightly and said, What's going on? When did you and it?" Su Yin stopped laughing. She stared at Hua Chenwan for a while, as if she had made up her mind. She took a deep breath and said, "What I'm going to say next may seem unbelievable to you, but I swear on my character and my happiness in this life that every word I'm going to say is true. I believe you." As soon as Su Yin finished speaking, Hua Chenwan said without hesitation, "As long as you say it, I believe you." Su Yin was stunned. Her face still looked familiar, but her eyes relaxed. Hua Chenwan was very familiar with the beginning of the incident. Hua Xiaofeng brought his little girlfriend to the family Hua's banquet. He got into an argument with Su Yin, who was also invited to the banquet, and pushed her down the stairs. She was injured and hospitalized. However, what happened after that was completely different from what Su Yiyin knew. The Su family forcefully canceled the engagement between Su Yiyin and Hua Xiaofeng, but did not allow Su Yiyin to marry him. They were like two parallel lines that had never intersected. Until Su Yiyin's death, they had never intersected. Hua Chenhuan was shocked when he heard the first half of the story, but he remained calm. However, when he heard that Su Yiyin had died in a car accident 3 years after her engagement with Hua Xiaofeng was canceled in his previous life, he felt as if he had never experienced it before. Even though he had not seen it with his own eyes, he still felt that the blood in his body seemed to have cooled down in an instant. It made him subconsciously want to hold Su Yiyin's hand and feel the warmth of her body to confirm that she was still alive. Su Yiyin sensed his emotions. She stopped talking and held his hand to comfort him. "Don't be afraid. It's all in the past." Hua Chenhuan lowered his eyes to hide the gloomy coldness in his eyes. He was afraid that he would scare Su Yiyin. Was it an accident, or was it intentional? It was an accident, but it was also intentional. Su Yiyin did not linger on this topic. Instead, she continued, "I didn't lose my consciousness immediately after my death. Instead, I became a soul that no one could see. I saw my parents sad, and I also saw you. I realized that you had always liked me." Hua Chenhuan subconsciously tightened his grip on Su Yiyin's hand. He felt that everything was explained. They had never met before, but Su Yiyin suddenly chose to get engaged to him after her engagement with Hua Xiaofeng was canceled. Moreover, she seemed to know that he would not reject her. It was impossible for him to reject her. After that, I don't know why. Maybe it was because you were too stubborn, or maybe it was for some other reason. My soul floated away with you and stayed by your side for half a year. I watched you try to protect my family for me. You tried to shelter them from the wind and rain, but in the end, you couldn't resist the rules of the world. You couldn't save the dead people's hearts. I watched them leave one by one. I watched you drag those who had hurt me to hell one by one in order to avenge me. But in the end, you didn't get redemption. You took the initiative to fall into depravity and followed her. Hua Chenhuan listened to Su Yiyin's story. There was no fluctuation in his heart at all. He only felt sorry for Su Yiyin. Hua Xiaofeng, Wen Jingping, Hua Qihan, Cheng Fenglang, and that bullsh *T rule of the world. In order to let those two idiots ascend, they had to step on the people he loved the most. They had to step on those innocent people as stepping stones and carry them up step by step. Such rules were meant to be broken. Su Yiyin told him everything. She closed her eyes and let out a long breath. Then, she looked at Hua Chenhuan and asked carefully, "Do you believe me?" Hua Chenhuan kissed her forehead tenderly and pitifully. He said with sincerity and affection, "I believe you." Hua Xiaofeng didn't doubt Su Yiyin's words at all. First, it was because he trusted her. Second, it was because he knew himself well enough. He knew that if the person he had been waiting for died, just like that, and the only light was gone, he would really drag everyone to the grave with her. Then, he would come down to accompany her in person. The Chinese herbs you took out before were all given to you by it. Yes, they were exchanged. I collected the favorability and faith of others to exchange for these things. So, you started a live broadcast and became a streamer. Hua Chenhuan had thought that Su Yiyin started a live broadcast on a whim. She might have wanted to use it to attack Wen Jingping. Now, it seemed that he was too narrow-minded. Su Yiyin smiled. At that time, I was eager to exchange for more herbs and more skills to do what I wanted to do the most. This was the best and fastest way. Hua Chenhuan was stunned for a moment. Then his eyes lit up. "You did it for me?" Su Yiyin held his face and rubbed it. "I want you to get better. I want you to be well and completely belong to me." Hua Chenhuan didn't say anything. He just couldn't help but hug Su Yiyin closer. Su Yiyin leaned on his chest. Her eyes were slightly hot. She whispered, "Thank you. Thank you for believing in me." Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment. Then he suddenly said in a hoarse voice, "I once had a dream." "What dream?" "I dreamed that you were covered in blood. You were lying there lifelessly with your eyes closed. You were cold all over. I wanted to save you, but I couldn't touch you at all. I could imagine that kind of despair." He could understand it. Su Yin's arms around Hua Chenhuan paused for a moment. Then, she gradually tightened her arms. You gave me a new life. She also gave many people in this world a chance to change their fate. The two of them hugged in silence for a while. Hua Chenhuan gradually calmed down. On one hand, he was glad that fate had given him and Su Yin a chance to start over. On the other hand, he felt a little uncomfortable. Did you like Hua Xiaofeng in your previous life? Su Yin widened her eyes. She didn't expect Hua Chenhuan to ask this question after he recovered. She glared at him, annoyed and amused. I can't say that I liked him. I just didn't hate him. Although she had been engaged to Hua Xiaofeng for a while, the number of times they had interacted with each other was very limited. During this limited interaction, perhaps Hua Qihan had been eager to get to know her grandfather through her and her mother, so he had given Hua Xiaofeng a lot of advice that had made Hua Xiaofeng's young master temper more or less restrained. In addition, Mrs. Hua and her mother were good friends. She didn't keep her guard up. Her impression of Hua Xiaofeng was neither good nor bad. At most, he was a slightly familiar stranger. In fact, Su Yin thought about it later. Even if Wen Jingping hadn't been there, she and Hua Xiaofeng probably wouldn't have gotten married. However, if she hadn't been the trigger, the two families wouldn't have gotten into such an ugly fight. Su Yin knew what Hua Chenhuan was jealous about. She raised her head and kissed him. She smiled and said, "Don't worry. Whether it's in my previous life or in this life, you're the only one I've ever loved." Hua Chenhuan looked down at his little wife. At this moment, he only felt that her eyes were full of stars. They were so bright that he couldn't take his eyes off them. Seeing that the two of them were about to kiss and hug each other, the system, which had been neglected for a long time, finally couldn't stand it anymore. Host and partner, please consciously abide by the regulation for the protection of mental health of robots. Do not perform any restricted scenes in front of the system. Do not perform any restricted scenes in front of the system. Ahem. In the end, Su Yin wasn't as thick-skinned as Hua Chenhuan. When she heard this familiar warning, she remembered that there was still an artificial camera in the room. She hurriedly withdrew from Hua Chenhuan's embrace. Her face was slightly red, and she didn't dare to meet the system's dark glass eyes. Hua Chenhuan smiled faintly and went forward to pat the system's round head. He said sincerely, "Thank you for taking care of Yin Yin during this period of time. Thank you for your help." "You're welcome. This is what the system should do." Su Yin stood at the side for a while. When the heat on her face subsided, she went forward and asked, "Didn't you leave after the mission was completed that day? Why did you suddenly come back? And you even ran into Yuan Yuan's body? Don't tell me you got addicted to swallowing systems and swallowed Yuan Yuan's data as well. You're like a turtle dove taking over a magpie's nest, right?" When the system heard her say this, it was furious. The system that swallowed the world's female protagonist that day was purely out of helplessness. Moreover, it was the host's request and not the system's will. The system doesn't have the habit of swallowing other systems. Please stop slandering the system. The original data of this robot was saved by the system in a small area chip. The carrier can be used after rebooting. As for why the system came back, it was because the system used the host's favorability points to exchange for the opportunity to stay in this world. When the system said this, it couldn't help but feel a little wronged. It spent so much effort to exchange for such an opportunity from the main system. Who would have thought that the moment it came back, it was forced to be stuffed with dog food in close proximity and was even attacked by the robot body. It lost to a small robot from a low-level world. It was simply infuriating. My favorability points? Su Yin raised her eyebrows. She remembered that the system did ask for her opinion before it left and wanted to take away the remaining favorability points. She agreed at that time, but now that she thought about it, she felt that this matter wasn't so simple. How many of my favorability points did you use for this opportunity? Not much. How much is not much? The system's pair of black eyes started to roll around, obviously feeling guilty. Su Yin raised her eyebrows. You're not allowed to lie. Speak. Only then did the system report a number hesitantly. The favorability points that the system took away when it left were not even a fraction of this number. Su Yin wasn't stupid. How could she not understand? Good for you. I was wondering why you suddenly became so useless. You can't even avoid the signal jamming and send out a message. So it turns out that you purposely led me to start a live broadcast to help you earn favorability points in preparation for your return. You can't bear to part with me? Hua Chenhuan stood at the side and smiled as she watched Su Yin knock the system's round head. She didn't mention that Su Yin was sad for a while when she thought that this little thing wouldn't be coming back. Su Yin finally got the chance to scold the system. After venting her anger for the system repeatedly choking her in her mind, Su Yin let out a sigh of relief. The corners of her lips couldn't help but curl up a little. She rubbed the system's round head and said earnestly, "It's fine if you come back. We can't casually take other people's bodies. In a while, I'll ask Yanbai to send over an unactivated little robot as your carrier. Let's return the body to Yuan, okay?" "No." Su Yin originally thought that the system would be easy to talk to. After being rejected, she was very surprised. "Why? Do you like the appearance of this robot? Don't worry, I'll ask Yanbai to get you one. I guarantee that it'll be exactly the same as the one you have now." The system was still unwilling to relent. It snorted coldly and turned its back to Su Yin, ignoring her. Su Yin was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. The system couldn't be jealous, right? Previously, before it had left, it had shown subtle hostility and jealousy towards Yuan several times. This time, it even directly took over Yuan's body after returning. Not to mention anything else, just that flower flick just now could be called skillful. It was enough to show that it had secretly studied Yuan's skills. The more Su Yin thought about it, the more she felt that this was a possibility. Looking at the system that was throwing a little tantrum and refusing to cooperate, she had no choice but to ask Hua Chenhuan for help. Hua Chenhuan received his wife's pitiful little gaze and stepped forward to help her out. "Since it's unwilling, then give Yuan another shell. Yuan just so happens to prefer a more feminine robot compared to this one. It can wear those little aprons you gave it." Su Yin blinked and was a little curious. Does Yanbai Company have other robots with other appearances? Yes, the appearance is actually similar. It's just that some small details are different. All right then, ask Yanbai to send another one over. Okay, the most basic problem was solved. Su Yin's gaze towards the system also changed. She smiled and rubbed the system's round head. Her whole body was filled with a kind and amiable holy light. The system was speechless. It had an ominous feeling. Sure enough, in the next second, Su Yin said, "Although we've known each other for a long time, the body you're using now was after all painstakingly developed by Hua Chenhuan's company. There's a saying that goes, if you eat someone's food, you have to be soft-hearted. You've already taken their experimental results. Aren't you going to take something out in return?" The system was speechless. It had just returned, and she was already thinking about how to exploit it. Sure enough, humans were unreliable. They were too cunning. If it had known earlier that it couldn't be saved, it would have regretted, upset, and irritable. However, no matter how regretful the system was, it was destined to be exploited by Su Yin for the rest of its life. It couldn't escape. Zui Yanbai had just returned to the company when he received a message from Hua Chenhuan asking him to send another female robot that didn't have a central chip installed. Although Zui Yanbai was puzzled, he didn't ask much. He personally went to the workshop to pick a robot that was about the same size as Roly-Poly, but with more colorful paint. It looked more like a girl and sent it to the family Hua. The old butler and the others didn't have much of a reaction to the new robot in the house. They just thought that it was a new product from Hua Chenhuan's company and brought it home to try it out first. On the other hand, the little ones at home were curious about the sudden appearance of a robot that looked similar to Roly-Poly but was not quite the same. Most of them were at a loss. Little Xing stood on the lawn in the yard and looked at the one on the left, then at the one on the right. It staggered over and circled around the two robots. Its big eyes were full of confusion, as if it didn't understand why there were two robots taking care of it instead of one. Dun was more sensitive. After all, ever since it broke the ice with Roly-Poly, the human and dog that crossed species had become real companions. Now that there was suddenly another robot, Dun really couldn't understand why there was a robot that looked like its companion but wasn't as easy to get along with as before, and a new member that didn't look like its companion but made it feel very close to it. Could it be that its little friend could clone itself? Dun's small dog eyes were filled with great confusion. However, no matter what, this strange combination had gradually integrated into the house. Su Yiyin leaned against the windowsill on the second floor and looked at the scene in the yard. She couldn't help but smile. Then, she felt her waist being held, and her whole body fell into a familiar warm embrace. Happy, yes. In the yard, the system, who was actually a new member, looked cold and didn't really like to talk to the little ones. However, if one looked closely, one would find that its black eyes had never left the little ones. Every time the little ones walked unsteadily and were about to fall, it would silently guard by the side, ready to catch the children at any time. This was originally Roly-Poly's job, but now it was snatched away by the system, or it could be said that it was secretly competing with Roly-Poly. Little did it know that Roly-Poly, who was regarded as an imaginary enemy by the system, didn't have this consciousness at all. It made people feel that it was fun and funny. Su Yiyin looked at this scene with a smile in her eyes. She only felt an indescribable satisfaction. I'm happy that all of you are here. After that, Su Yiyin broke free from Hua Qinhuan's embrace, turned around, and hugged Hua Qinhuan's waist instead. She rubbed against his chest in satisfaction and said in a low voice, "Thank you. Thank you for everything you did for me. You allowed me to start over, save the people I wanted to save, and make up for the many regrets." Hua Qinhuan reached out and touched her head. He looked at the person in his arms with a gentle and indulgent gaze, as if he was looking at his own world. Thank you, too. Thank you for coming to my side without hesitation. You changed my life and also changed our established future. The spring breeze blew, blowing the clusters of proudly blooming blue roses in the greenhouse. The fine petals danced in the wind, drifting past the two of them, bringing with them a burst of floral fragrance. Everything was so peaceful and beautiful. The suffering had ended, and a new life had arrived as promised. And the people they loved were all here. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.